Night phase, we can return everyone. We have an increased population. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a tired worker 8. Dawn phase moves the round marker, so we hit the storm. We need to increase this again so it gets even harder to start the generator. We would flip any bunkhouses so that they no longer work, but we have only built houses now. We are set. Draw and resolve a mourning card. Prostitution. Some citizens sell their body for additional food rations. We can either turn a blind eye, we could exhaust a hope to stop this harmful practice, or add a discontent. We are not struggling for discontent, so let's add one more and make a designated a red light district. At least it will happen when and where we allow it. If people have spare food rations, then clearly we're in a better state than I thought. Generator phase. Add sick based on the heat position, so this is flipping 1, 2 and increasing 2. No. 1, 2, 2, yes. So this token's going to flip anyway, so 1, 2, and we need to increase 2. Well, actually, no, it's not too bad. We can just increase the engineer 1, 2, because he'll flip and increase, and they'll, yeah, it's not a dead person just yet. We need to add a cube, since we're only adding 1 coal. Weather. Draw a weather card. Storm moves once. The storm is actually just removed at this point. There is not more storms. Top tracks increase 1 and 1. We will get 9 food. Where's hunger? It's under here, isn't it? Hunger's on 7. Good. And we have reached the end of this track. So we can either gain 2 wood and a steam core, or continue with 2 wood and a steam core. What it doesn't talk about, so we've advanced 3 spaces. If we choose to continue, do we advance 2 spaces on the B track? I presume that's what's happening, because otherwise you are always better off coming back and then starting a new expedition, because then at least you collect. But it doesn't say. In terms of this, it just says, advance each of your scouts the indicated number of spaces forward on their respective expedition cards. And cards plural, I guess because scouts is plural, you could have multiple scouts. For each of your scouts, 3 spaces forward. It doesn't say what you do if you reach the end of a card. When a scout reaches the last space, the expedition is complete. Ignore further movement for that scout. So tell me, why? Why would you ever not return? Because we have the choice to either return and immediately now get 2 wood and a steam core, or, so for example, this gets removed, we add a new B card, and then we just start a new expedition, and we're at the same spot. Or we continue, we add the B card, and we're at the bottom, except the 2 wood and the steam core continue on the expedition. There's literally no reason ever to continue. you should always just come back, bring the resources, and then just start a new expedition. It feels like continue, you should move the remaining movement 1, 2, and at least it gives you a reason why you would continue. Because then we've got the option, do we want now 2 wood and a steam core, or do we leave it with them and they're part way on this track? Does that make sense? Because as it stands, we ignore the rest of our movement, so I'm definitely returning and bringing with us 2 wood and 1 steam core. We add a B card, and then next round, we're just going to send our worker off on an expedition. Really no reason not to. So yeah, I think that should change. Otherwise, why give us an option? Preparation resolves sick. So these move up. This increases and flips. Action phase. So we need to use a steam core to get rid of all of this. Otherwise it's going to explode. We use 1, 2, 3 coal to get the generator going. And then at least red actions are warm. So this is a warm action. Use a steam core. Goodbye damaged furnace. And that will see us through to the end of the game now. You have to do one more step. Well, we were 1 away from the end and we got 3 movement. So we're definitely over the end of the track. When a scout reaches the last space, so this is only 3 spaces, but we had already moved 2 and then we had a 3 movement to get over the end anyway. But my question is, why, when you continue an expedition, do you only end, or you only begin the expedition on the first space? It doesn't say. For example, you choose to continue the expedition and it shows you in the bottom space. So I don't know, if their intention is to allow you to continue that movement, which makes sense. If you come across a camp early but you're continuing on, you've literally taken the choice to continue away from the city. Why do you not continue away from the city on the expedition card itself? Why have we decided we're not going back, but we are just going to stand on this spot? Return to the city. Set the scouts aside. So you return it to the supply, so it's not like they even come back as a used worker. Because that could be the other thing. If the turn when they on the turn in which they return, you have to use them as a used worker to signify their journey back. You couldn't immediately start a second one, in which case continuing would be better. But they just come straight back into your supply. So firstly, you've got versatility. You might not even want to start the second expedition. You might have to do something else. Secondly, you get the resources immediately, which is better than waiting. And then when you do start a new expedition, you're in the same spot as if you continue. I don't know, I might be interpreting this wrong. but it just looks like there's literally no reason not to ever come back to the city. I wouldn't like to see them give you a used worker because the game is punishing enough. I would like to see them change it so you continue on the expedition. So at least there's a reason to continue. And at least that makes the game slightly easier without being a big benefit. Action phase. We're on action phase. We've gone to the generator to make the generator better so we can get rid of our tiny reminder. Oop, let's not lose our worker. We then need to heal, and we're going to come 1, 2 engineers for 2 food. 1 flips our tokens, and the other 1, 2, 3. And then, do we use a care? Because we can send our automation over here to the care house. Because the care house does not require an engineer. We can flip care for 5 healing. We do have to use our coal. Remember the coal, remember the coal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 2 flips, 2 increase. Should keep everyone safe. No one should die. But again, we can't make another automation, which is a shame. We will send a worker to burn a tree to get 4 coal. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess actually with 1 automation, the charcoal kiln, it's enough to light the fire and use the 1 every round. At least that's okay. Then we've got 4 workers, which we are going to need more wood at one point. Next round, we can't start the generator. We've got 3 wood and it requires 4 wood. But we've got 2 sawmills which we can't, 3 sawmills which we can't use currently. So that'd be 4, and then we've got 2 more rounds of heat, and we've got 1 wood here when we're desperate. Otherwise we get a coal thumper. I think next round we have to upgrade the sawmill. That's going to be something that's happening, and then we can gather at least some wood. But for now, let's use 4 workers in 4 of our different hunters' huts. It doesn't matter which 4. It's going to cost 4 food to use them, and they will gather 20. So we will just gain 16 food. That moves us up onto 22. There's nowhere else really for them to go. We get the food now, then we're sorted for this tough feeding phase with the workers. Well, not sorted, but only slightly short. Resolve it. Oh, actually no. I do know one other space they can go. This space. So let's get 5 food less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we spend 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we can get... we had to spend a care, didn't we? I forget from the event which was the bad one not to have active, care or justice. This is when I really wish my memory was better. Hopefully it doesn't trigger this round. But yes, let's draw a dusk card. Choose one building with an engineer on it or any shelter. Remove this building from the board and one engineer dies. Ugh, bad times. Well, we're going to just remove a medical post since they are cheap anyway. A dead engineer means hello body token. We lose 1 hope. And goodbye engineer. Hunger. Reduce hunger by food, so we have 7 hunger. Leaves us with 6 food, and then we are feeding 30. So we have 24 hunger. Return all citizens, that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Move the round marker. New event. So now we need 10 wood. Sorry, 10 wood. It's round 10. We need 4 wood and a steam core to build. And then it takes 1 engineer to be stood on it before we can heat it up. Morning phase. Another settlement. So we could lose a hope. Or we have another action space. And we have to place 3 resources from our supply here. We've got 5 cards in the deck. Only a couple of rounds. Let's risk it. The chances are we never have to look after them. We just pretend we're going to. Search Dusk 024. Shuffle it in. Yeah, we'll help them, sure, why not? Generator, add sick based on heat. We have 1, 2 flips, 2 increases. So that is 1, actually, 1 flip, 1 increase, 1 flip, 1 increase. We would add malfunction and roll, but it is only on 1, so we will just add the 1 cube and reset. Weather. No storm, everything increases. We're going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. So for the 3rd time this game, we have ended 1 space away from the end of this track. We will get 8 food. Resolve sick. So everybody just increases 1. And actions. So we can't put coal in the furnace just yet. So we send an engineer. We can't build until we have wood. Actually, no, we can, because we had all of these sawmills. So we can dismantle 1, 2 for 2 wood. We will build a platform ventilation plant for an additional 2 wood and a steam core. Then we'll send our engineer out, which is a cold action, we use a food. We have 1, 2 workers then going 1, 2 medical posts for 2 food, and 1, 2, 3 coal to actually start the generator before I forget. No, I've used that, haven't I? Because we had 8 food and we've only done 3 actions. Yep. So then we can activate Justice and hope that event comes along. And we would gain, it would be 20 food from these 4 people, minus 8. So we'd gain 12 food, putting us on 17. We'd be 7 short, someone dies. So nope, we are going for 5 lots of food. That costs a coal. No, 4 lots of food and the charcoal kiln. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 lots of food and this worker. We're getting 15, but it costs 4 to keep them warm. That's 11. Puts us on 22. Oh, that is disappointing. We can always send the automaton here first next round. And we might get coal here. Yeah. Let's not get the coal. We'll leave ourselves with the 1 wood and get that 5 extra food. Ah, I've increased kids. Why did I increase kids? I increased it by 11, didn't I? So actually we're nowhere close on that. We need this 5 extra food. We move up to here and then the original 11. So we're still short, but not short by a catastrophic amount. And yeah, don't try and triple your or double your kid population by harvesting them at a hunter's hut. Replacing kids with rabbits does not work. Dusk phase. Have you helped them survive? Ah, did I shuffle? I probably just put it straight on top. Never mind. If you've helped, if not, +1 greed, remove it, and that card. Okay, so remove this, remove this. We do not have greed at the moment. We still do not have greed. Excellent. So we don't have to flip anything over. Hunger, reduce as much as possible. 21 versus 24. We still have 3 hunger, which adds a discontent. Let's give them an apathy. Actually, no, let's do the anger. They might get an event that makes us flip all anger. And at least then it's only 2. There's no one homeless because our population hasn't changed. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Morning card. A prophet. One child has an... Oh. Nope. Feeding. Keep on the feeding. We need 11 more food next round. One child has intense, hope-encouraging visions. Some people believe that she is a prophet and her words should guide us in these terrible times. I'm going to add 1 hope and dusk event 27 with the second option here. It's impossible, or impossible is possible. We shall let her continue for the sake of those who find comfort in her prophecies. We only have 2 more dusk cards coming out. I don't think it's going to be catastrophic for us. We gain a hope as well, so we've got everything active. That's what we were aiming for. Search, dusk 27. Put it on top. Generator, add sick based on the difference, so it's now 1, 2, 3 sickness and 2 flips. Oh. I sent our engineers out here, didn't I? We just didn't actually do the action. So we should have flipped them and moved everything down, and now we're going to flip 2. Oh, someone's dying. We're flipping 2 and increasing by 2, so we're doing this. Yes, that is still fine, because this token will increase and flip, and these will just increase. 1, 2, 3. 1 more. Malfunction, we're still only adding 1 coal, because we are cheapskates, but also it reduces the risk of catastrophe. We advance food by 8, and again we would massively exceed this track. Large cave. We can either get 4 engineers, 6 workers, and 1 sick worker. 4 engineers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, it's exactly enough to get a new engineer. Or we get 10 food, a steam core, and lose a hope. I think I want, well, one more sick worker, unfortunately, does kill somebody. But I think I wanted to upgrade the sawmill, which needs an engineer. And if we divert someone away from medicine, then people are going to die anyway. So I think 1 worker dying now is as good as someone dying in the future. So we will get the 4 engineers, 6 workers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 sick worker. We get a new engineer meeple. It is more people we have to feed in this final round. We will need 36 food. But we get 1 more hope, which is perfect for when someone dies right about now. And we add a new A card either way. I don't think we're going off on another expedition, so we do need another house if that's the case, in which case we're going off on an expedition. Just to stop us building a house. Resolve the sick citizen tokens. So this increases and flips, this increases and flips, which is a dead worker. So we add another body bag. And the people cared. The people have cared a lot. We've not been lucky. So we'll get rid of that justice token. And the children increase. Action phase. So we didn't get any resources from the cave that we were really wanting. Where's our automation? Not in there, is he? What did I send him off to do? Oh, he's here. So the automation will come out first of all. He needs to... Oh, he can't. He needs to use a coal. We do not have it. So a worker will come out and eat a food to burn the wood to get 4 coal. 1, 2, 3, 4. We will put 3 into the furnace and use 1 for the automation. So I'm just going to get rid of it straight away. The automation's probably coming out for food, so let's just put him over there and get 5 food. So we want 7 up to 12. We need an engineer out here, and that's a cold action, so that's eating a food before we could put the coal in. And then we've got an engineer to do a upgrade with a steam core. And this is a warm action. We will flip the sawmill over and it can now chop trees over here. We can send someone there to get 3 wood. 1, 2, 3. A worker will go here just because I do not want to have to build another house for them. 2 engineers will eat 2 food at our medical tents. To flip 1, 2 and reduce 1, 2, 3. No. I don't mind more workers dying now because they won't lose us a meeple, the engineers will. And then we've got 3 people left to get food, I think. 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2, 3 food spent, and we gain 15. Plus 8 is 23. It looks like an excessive amount of food, but next round we're going to need to eat 35. That is all our actions. As I say, I really like this law, heated meals. So long as you can start the generator, you don't have to use engineers to clear malfunction. You don't need a huge amount of people being spent getting you the charcoal and wood. It's a lot easier to keep getting food from hunters' huts, of which hopefully you've got 5 anyway, than it is to get wood and coal. You don't add the discontent, but you know, hunger phase, 12 hunger for 2 food, it's really good. It is good. I think you definitely need one of these 2 laws. It just depends which way you want to go. I like the heated one, but I could see why you'd go either way. I guess actually, both times I've done it, I have received this version. I don't know what the other card is. Actually, it doesn't make a difference because we know we aren't going to get it now, so I'm going to flip it and see. Add a temporary worker to your supply and then you lose it. Oh yeah, I would much prefer this over that card. They are not balanced. Okay, resolve a card. Have you heated? Lose 1 hope for each citizen that is placed on a yellow building. Ooh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lose 4 hope. Whoop. Goodbye. Yeah, I promised this on turn... Was this our turn 1 event? Turn 2? At which point nobody was going cold. But we were still using some yellow buildings. Actually, no, I don't think we were. Ah, yeah, we probably were on a gathering post at some point. But still, we weren't going to lose 4 hope. But it's done, it's out of the way. We are still just about holding on. Hunger. 11 hunger leaves us with 12 food. Then we're feeding blue, which is 16. We get 4 hunger. Return citizens and they get sick, but they don't. Morning phase. Theft. So, place this card on the event display. Place 2 resources from your supply on this card and 2 additional resources for each active greed, which they don't have. We can either keep all the resources for ourselves, we gain a greed, or we exhaust it and have a used worker. I think we will just add a greed. And we do add a greed, that's a shame, but we get to keep our resources. Because I didn't want a used worker. I wasn't too bothered about the dusk card being added, I just didn't want a used worker. Generator. Sickness, we get 1, 2, 3 sick and 2 flipped. So we are flipping 1. We'll increase it twice and flip this. Increase the engineer. So this is going to be a dead worker. Hopefully people don't care about that. Reset heat and just 1 more cube. Actually, when we used a steam core here to clear everything, we really didn't need to. We could have just got rid of 5 cubes, it would have been sufficient. But I guess we've got no chance of getting more automatons anyway. Weather. Draw a weather card. Top moves 1 more. We get 8 food. We move twice. 1, 2, that's a shame. Resolve sick. So this moves up and flips, so that is a dead worker. They do not care. This moves up and flips. This moves up. Oh, I didn't move this. We are on the final round. Okay. So, can we survive? We will need 34, we will need at least 38 food to be able to hit a level 2 victory condition. We have enough citizens. We could have 1 coal left over if we don't use our automaton. Getting 5 coal is going to be beyond us. Okay, so we will send a worker who eats a food to stay warm, to burn a wood. 1, 2, 3, 4 coal. That engineer puts 3 in the furnace, and he has to eat a food to stay warm. Then we are not going to resolve sick, so we don't actually have to bother dealing with this. All we're going to do is hunger. So, we do have a lot of spare engineers. If we're sending 5 people to gather food, we would gain effectively 20 food, which would put us on 26. I didn't add this 8. That is going to make a difference. 8 food from the weather card. Yes. So we'd gain 20, we'd be on 34, which is exactly... No, we would be short of feeding. So we can't have any food left over unless we build a hothouse, which isn't going to happen. Or we could spend 2 food, 1 to gather a steam core. No, only 1 food, because upgrading a small building. So we'd gain 2 extra food. We could dismantle to get a hothouse. Yeah, if we do a build action, we don't need this wood, but we do need a coal. So we need 2 wood from somewhere. We can dismantle sawmill. Oh, we haven't used the sawmill. Do we just go to the sawmill? No. We're not going to get anything... else from the care house at this point, I don't think. Except maybe a dusk event, actually. So let's get rid of one of these. So we can get rid of 2 buildings for 2 resources, 2 wood, and build a hothouse. For 4 wood. Now we have 6 spaces we can go to for food. And we will get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 33, minus the 6 food to keep them all warm is 27 extra food. Puts us on 41 food. So we're not using our automation because we have to keep 1 coal. I think we've got 46 citizens, yes. And we might have some food left over because we have 4 hunger. 1, 2, 3, 4. We will have 2 food left over. How the heck do you get a level 5 victory? 25 food left over, yeah. With 71 citizens that you're feeding constantly. No, it's not happening. But yeah, I think that's that. Dusk phase. So this is the problem. We've promised a lot, and we've gone all or nothing. The safe option would be to not go to one of those food places and to increase our morale with the cookhouse, or even enact a law, in which case we just gain a gain a hope. So we could have 5 less food, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you've got a little bit of a cushion. As it stands, if we lose 2 hope, we lose the scenario and it's gone from us, this victory. Otherwise, we risk it all for a level 2 victory. All comes down to the dusk event. If you don't have the EO18 card on event display, go to 1. That's this one. Place this card on the event display with one unbuilt automation on it. When you build a new automation, take an automation from this card instead. Engineers admire your foresight. They are eager to work for the common good. Add 1 temporary engineer token to your supply. Okay, so because we were saying, yeah, sure, we'll build one. Even if we hadn't built one, we get a temporary engineer. Oh great, we're not using that. But it didn't kill us. Hunger. 4 hunger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we see the difference of 3. We have no hunger in this final round. Night phase, return everyone. Oops, I didn't even need to pick him up, did I? Anyway, we return everyone, but it doesn't matter, because even if you increase sickness at this point, you don't resolve the effect of it. Move the round marker. Done. Done, done, done. So, can we survive? Yes. Citizens wise, we've got 34, 45, 61. So that could put us in the level 4 category. Do we have 9 to 12 coal? No. We have 1 coal. That leaves us in the level 2 category. Do we have 1 food? Yes. Level 2 victory. I think that is the only time I've achieved a level 2 victory. It's the only time we've had some food left over, because feeding 34 people at the end, with everything falling apart at the seams, is really hard. That's the problem with relying on food additives, because it reduces hunger. It doesn't take care of feeding in this final phase. If you want to end the game, it doesn't matter if you could have taken care of the hunger afterwards. You have to feed these 34 at the end, or whatever your track says. Yeah, that felt... I don't know how that went well. I'm not sure what we did overly different, other than get the food, get all the hunter huts very early. I think often it's been sort of rounds 3 or 4 by the time I've got them done. We did get some good events early when the dusk deck was small. Yeah, this would have been a little punishing at the end, but when it's small and you're adding in good events because you're taking kind laws that increase hope, that really helps. Add a greed, remove 2 resources, possibly lose a hope, reduce hunger by 5. So it wasn't a great society at the end. There was anger, greed, and a lot of bubbling anger under the surface, but we were just motivated enough to creep across the line. 2 wood and a steam core. How many people was it here? 2 children and 6 workers. Yeah, I'm not sure if gathering a lot of extra workers early is great, because it's a lot of extra feeding as well. And to have 1 meeple, it's 10 citizens at this point, which means that worker needs to do 2 jobs of gathering food in order to pay for itself. So definitely maybe like gathering up citizens at the very end. Like if we timed it so we gathered more people at the very end here, we had people and maybe they brought us some coal. Fantastic. And that will help your score and you've never had to feed them. But during the course of the game, if you get extra people early, they cannot even sustain themselves. The jump from 5 people, what's that, up to 7, and then 10. It's pretty brutal. Even this category isn't particularly efficient. Getting to 30 was fine. We started at 25. So we got 5 extra people and we gained 1 worker, and that 1 worker gained us 5 food. So it really only balanced itself out. Yeah, getting more people is not efficient. I hadn't realised how inefficient, but definitely not efficient. Which is pretty counterintuitive to most worker games where you'd expect to at least get more resources from a citizen than you're putting into them. But even for a hothouse, which is a lot of resources, it's 4 resources, it's a double tile space to construct it. If you've increased your population and you get 1 extra worker, they don't pay for this. Even at this place, they only gather 8 food and you're feeding another 10 people. You do only feed them once every 3 rounds. So I guess they're not that bad. I'm actually saying that all. You would really... Yeah, I guess you do net a small amount back, don't you? Yeah, you can ignore all of that. Feeding every 3 rounds is the one saving grace, but it's still... It's not a big gain having extra workers, especially when they're children. And then you're pumping a lot into extra buildings. And yes, this was something I didn't take account of. Our children were freezing to death that entire time. Because this was not a warm building. That's annoying. That's been a problem for the last 4 or 5 rounds, and I've missed it. Because it doesn't flip to be a blue building, but it still needs to be heated. It would have been something we could have resolved with a field kitchen pretty easily. We would have needed the new faith law to be established, but it probably meant a lot of the time when we were sort of trying to get all this food built up, we would have probably been struggling a lot more earlier, because we would have had to have spent 1 engineer action instead of decreasing this by 3, we would have had to enacted a new law, and then it would have been a worker action to move the hunter's hut and 1 wood to build the field kitchen. Oh, I didn't even look at... Okay, that law is nice. You get 3 of them. 4. You get 4 field kitchens. No. 3. Where's... I'm sure I saw 4. Did I chuck one somewhere else? Yeah, here. 4 field kitchens, so you can have 4 yellow buildings permanently warm, even on a blue side. I'm sure that's what it says, isn't it? The building on the same tile as the field kitchen is considered to have a red insulation level, which also applies to blue insulation level buildings. So we could have just gone field kitchens and kept our tents. That is definitely something I'm going to try next time. Even if we used 1 for the child shelter, that is 3 tents that don't have to be dismantled and then upgraded. Instead of losing what would we have to spend? You dismantle them to get 3 wood, but then you're spending 12. You'd actually be spending 3, so you could save yourself 9 wood by keeping 3 tents. Oh, that is massive! 9 wood saved! Yes, that... I was thinking there was only 1 of these. I'd never sort of angled the stack. Oh, hello. You have dozens of snow pits if you go for order, which is a bit horrific. Snow pit is remove all dead bodies. So I guess with that you're basically trying to get... You'd have to get hope rapidly so that you could lose it when you get dead bodies from the body bag. We were unlucky in that our first 3 did cost us hope. I'm not sure what the breakdown of hope tokens is. Okay, we weren't that unlucky. There are 3 which don't lose you any, and 6 which do, so proportionally we were pretty on par. I thought it was about half and half previously. Alright, well that was jolly good fun. I will wrap this up here just for a moment. I will be dropping the stream, but I will immediately re-host. I'm just going to freshen up a cup of tea and my glass of water and jump straight back in, but if I terminate the stream it just makes it so much easier because YouTube won't edit a video if it's over a certain length. I'll have to download it, edit it, upload it, which takes about 9 hours on my connection speed. So hopefully you guys will stick with me. I will be back very shortly.